In last week's video, I gave you an introduction into the U process, which is a process that individuals and groups can use in order to sense and actualize their highest future possibility. And during the empathy walk and during the coaching circle, you already practiced the most important skill that makes something like the U process work, and that is deep listening. Shifting the inner place from where our listening and from where our attention originates. This week, we'll start a journey down the left-hand side of the U. This is kind of the first of three main stages of the U process, and we call this stage co-sensing. And what we mean with co-sensing is really this, that we move beyond downloading the patterns of the past in order to connect with reality deeper and better, both with the current reality that we currently face, but also the emerging reality that is wanting to happen around us and within us. Most leadership failures that I have seen happened because leaders were unable to connect with the changing reality around them. Here's a real-world example. During the early 1980s, the US auto company executives started to make trips to Japan to find out what it was that made the Japanese competitor outperforming their US counterparts. Coming back from one of these trips, one of these executives talked to my colleague here at MIT, Peter Senge. And Peter remembers this story that he asked them, so what was the trip like? And the Detroit executive responded to him, well, he didn't really get that much out of it. So he asked him, why was that? Well, they didn't show us the real plant. And Peter asked, why would you say that? And then the executive responded, I have seen plenty of assembly facilities in my life. And what they showed to us wasn't a real plant. There was no inventory, there was no dirt. It didn't, it was a stage tour that they created for us. They didn't show us the real facilities. If you step back and look at that story from today, you see how this executive and his team was exposed in the early 1980s to a major shift, a major revolution in manufacturing technology from conventional to lean production. And yet, although they saw with their own eyes, their minds were unable to process this information because their minds, the way they processed the information was bounded, limited by their experience of the past, what a real manufacturing plant looks like, and so on and so forth. So in spite of being exposed to that revolution that was going on around them, their minds were unable to really open up and to process this new information. And that's exactly what we try to practice in the space of co-sensing. That number one, we put ourselves into the places of most potential, into places where we are exposed to and connected with something new. But then number two, we also practice this interior condition to open our mind, to suspend our old habits of judgment, our old habits of perception, our old habits of thought, in order to really connect with and tune into what it is that's changing around us, and that's also beginning to change within us. And that's the essence of co-sensing that we try to practice this week.